can feel you in the morning sun. I can see you in the sky above. I can hear you in the gentle breeze. You are always in always with me. I can feel you in the morning sun. I can see you in the sky above. I can hear you in the gentle breeze. You are always in always with me. I can feel you in the morning sun. I can see you in the sky above. I can hear you in the gentle breeze. You are always in always with me. Never a moment that you are far from my heart. You're always in always with me. I can feel you in the morning sun. I can see you in the sky above. I can hear you in the gentle breeze. You are always in always with me.
So good evening. That was Always in Always with Karen Drucker and Faith Rivera. So welcome to Wednesday evening Vesper, Unity of Lehigh Valley. I'm Reverend Joy, and I am delighted to be here again this evening. It was a chilly day, but sunshiny. So let's go ahead and begin with prayer. As we take a moment to just center in this now moment, becoming present to calm peace, present to this sense of gathering, this sense of being together. For we are one in spirit. We breathe into that oneness with infinite being, with perfect love, with divine wisdom. We come with open hearts and open minds to receive the blessing of Spirit. We are grateful for this time together and the blessings we receive. And so it is. Amen. So, I'll start with our daily word for today, Wednesday, April 15th. Tax day, if you are not paying attention to the extensions. Divine order is established in my life. When I remember all of the people I have known and the experiences I have had, I see how divine order has been at work, even if it did not seem like it at the time. Looking back, I see how I have used divine intelligence to make choices that have helped direct my life. As I let go and begin to trust more completely in divine wisdom, divine intelligence, expressing as me, I begin to understand the perfection with which my life has unfolded. As I recognize that everything is already in divine order, I can release myself into God's perfect flow and relax. I offer no resistance to the flow of harmony and goodness. My life is in divine order. I open my eyes to see it now. And the verse is from Romans chapter 8, verse 28. We know that all things work together for good for those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. So, well, Tom Eltringham, you are entirely welcome. It's my honor and privilege to continue to do this Vesper service for our community and for whoever wants to watch. I know that some people have found us since we've been on Facebook, just looking for something uplifting, just looking for spiritual community, looking for something different. And so I'm glad for everybody who finds us and comes into our community. Tonight, I was going to talk about something from the book of James. And those of you who know me, and I've preached at ULV for 11 years, know that I love the book of James. It's a very practical book. I don't know, some of the gospels, they say, have agendas and different perspectives, and James contains a lot of application of principle advice. So here's the principle, and here's how it might work in your life. James really explores the idea of faith versus works. And he brings that out in a scripture that I live by. Show me your faith apart from your works, and I by my works will show you my faith. It's sort of a walk the talk or be quiet kind of approach to faith and works. Not, I'm going to talk over here about my faith, and over here are my works, and they're really not together. So, Unity by and large uses stories in its metaphysical interpretations, and James really doesn't have much of a story. There aren't a lot of parables in James. So I don't think people read the book of James very much, except for me. And my concern is those who venture into James might get stopped at the very beginning. It's a bold opening. And it's a challenge that we might take up in these current days. Here's what he says. My brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of any kind, consider it nothing but joy, because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance. And let endurance have its full effect, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. Yep, that's like the very first thing he says. Trials, count it all joy. Huh. Now, James wants us to count it all joy? Seriously. But we have to break it down. We have to kind of tear this apart, tease it apart, and see if there might be something to what he's saying. He starts out saying brothers and sisters. So he understands we're all in this together. We are one family of humanity. We are gender neutral kin. He says, whenever you face trials of any kind. So this is a response, no matter what it is we're facing in the world, no matter how we view the world. Because everyone considers different things a trial. During these pandemic days, some of us consider it a trial to stay home, and some of us consider it a trial to go to work. Some of us are worried about going out, and some of us are worried about staying in. James doesn't try to compare trials. He honors all of it. Whatever is a trial for you is a trial worthy of this challenge. So have we ever found ourselves comparing trials, dismissing something that somebody else is saying as, oh, that's not really that bad. You should see what I have to do. Or, I don't think that would bother me. That's not what James says. James says, whenever you face trials of any kind. Then he says that hard thing. Consider it all joy. Consider it nothing but joy. So how does he get there? Because you know that the testing of your faith produces endurance, and let endurance have its full effect, so that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. How many of us feel like our faith in one power, one presence, our faith in God the good, our faith in expecting only good is being tested in these days? The daily word is order. Does this feel like order right now? I think my first comment when I hear divine order is, wouldn't real divine order go a little faster? Because humans are impatient. We are an impatient lot. And it says that the testing of our faith produces endurance. James knows, even 2,000 years ago, humanity is impatient. And when things get challenging, when we're in a trial, our first thought is to get it over with. Let it go faster. Let us be done with this. Time and time again, we have to learn to trust the process. The divine process of order unfolding. We have to move our attention up out of the weeds and the alligators in the swamp that we have found ourselves in. Not to ignore the swamp, not to pretend that there aren't alligators there, but to move our attention up to a high enough level where we can see that the entire world is not a swamp. Where we can calm ourselves enough to hear the guidance about what is our next step. Endurance acknowledges that the way out may not be quick, may not be easy. But endurance also acknowledges that we should not give up, opening ourselves to guidance and strength and comfort that arises from our connection to spirit, that arises when we move our attention up to a higher level, up out of the snapping alligators and the messy swamp. This learning to continue to trust our oneness and the flow of the divine through us, even when conditions persist beyond our expectations, beyond what we think is okay, beyond what we think is reasonable. This learning is what matures us. Endurance is not giving up. Endurance doesn't mean that we keep doing the same thing. We're open to guidance. We adapt. We are responsive. When we've tried something a while and Spirit says, let's do something different, we do something different. Endurance is not necessarily repetitive. It is staying open. We continue and we persist in moving in the direction out of the swamp as we are guided. Step by step, we do not give up doing the right thing, doing good, doing what is compassionate and gentle and generous. If we do not give up, if endurance has its full effect in us, we will be complete, lacking in nothing. As we are mired in our swamp, as conditions don't seem to change the way we want them to, we start to wonder if maybe we are lacking in faith. Maybe we are lacking in wisdom. Certainly in moments we might wonder if we're lacking in love. When health challenges arise, do we lack in the energy of divine life? Well, not really. We don't lack because those are inner qualities. Those are our spiritual faculties that are within us. And nothing in the outer can diminish our inner qualities, our spiritual faculties. However, the outer conditions can distract us, can pull our attention away from what is within, and keep us focused on the appearance of lack. We get focused on that outer, and we convince ourselves that the lack that we see in the outer is the truth of our being. And often, we get to a bottoming out point. And then we decide, well, maybe I should pray. No, it's come to that. We're going to have to pray about it. And yet, when we say, let's go to prayer, that's our turning in. That's our tapping into what is always available. This is really part of how endurance teaches us that we are complete and lacking in nothing. Have you ever touched the bottom, surrendered in prayer, and discovered exactly what you needed? That process of enduring, touching bottom, turning in prayer, and discovering we are lacking in nothing. Could that be the lesson that is joy? I can identify some surrender points in my life. Some points of, okay, I give up. And what I give up is really my willfulness and the idea that I, the personality, ego I, am doing this alone. I turn to prayer. I open up to all that Spirit has been trying to pour into the stubborn, willful me. Sometimes I can feel the literal flow into my soul. The flow that is a calming balm. It is a river of peace and healing. It is all that I need. And I find that I am lacking in nothing. James encourages us to be grateful for the opportunities for spiritual growth. And with each lesson, we gather more evidence that we can begin to count it all joy even before we see the outcome. I don't think James is asking us to count it joy for the precipitating event, for the pandemic, for the death, for the loss of work, for whatever gives rise to the trial we find ourselves in. Rather, I think he's really saying there's a lesson in this. There's a way to use this. Looking back, some of the experiences and trials that we resisted the most, grieved the most, suffered the most, we can see how that experience strengthened our faith muscle and reminded us of the spiritual resources available within us, taught us that we can get through this, that we do have the strength and the wisdom and the courage and the love and the faith to get to the other side. Life happens. What we make of what happens is up to us. There will be lessons for us as we end the pandemic. There will be lessons for us individually, as a spiritual community, as a nation, as a global community. Let us count it all joy and allow endurance to have its full effect in us, that we may be mature and complete at the end of this time and find that we are lacking in nothing. I invite us to take that into a time of meditation. As we gently take a couple breaths, close our eyes, and with each breath we move into that center of our being, that place of peace, that place of joy. It is separate and apart from all of the chaos in the outer. It is that undisturbed pool within us. It is where we find all that we need. As you bring to mind how you shape the trial from your perception, how you perceive this time to be a challenge to you. And as you gently contemplate what it is the outer world tells you you're lacking, what it is that fear whispers that you do not have. And in this moment, I invite you to affirm the spiritual faculties, the spiritual resources within you that respond to that perceived lack. I am health, for I am divine life. I am compassionate, for I am divine love. I am wise, for I am divine wisdom. I am confident, for I am divine faith. Just breathe into that pool of resource within you. Speak aloud the words that you need to hear to remember the truth of your being. Let the I am expand within you. Know that we are lacking in nothing. And as we bring our time of meditation to a close, we know that this is our call to count it all joy. Knowing that we are lacking in nothing. Knowing that endurance has its full effect in us. We are mature and complete. And so it is. So I hope this has been a good break for you. A welcome respite in the middle of the week. Sunday, our sermon topic is the power of witnessing. What happened after the resurrection? It's about spiritual community and the power of being together. So we'll have service at 10:20 on Facebook Live on Sunday, and we do have the podcast discussion group. If you want to join in our discussion group Monday evenings at 7 p.m., just email me and I will send you a link. And I will also be back on Wednesday with Children's Chat at 6 and a Vesper at 7. So until I see you again, the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. May peace prevail in the hearts and minds of all beings. Namaste.